In China, the prospect of resource scarcity is largely thought to be a thing of the past. Millions of people in central and eastern China have had power outages. Authorities say this is partly due to unseasonably cold weather and coal shortages. This comes as China has significantly restricted Australian coal imports. But this month, power outages have returned to some parts of the country, conjuring memories of China's old command economy, where resource rationing was a part of daily life. Chinese social media has seen tens of thousands of posts complaining about the new electricity restrictions in the country's central and eastern provinces of Hunan and Zhejiang, which have been viewed more than 150 million times on the platform Weibo. News of the restrictions comes amid a burgeoning trade spat between Australia and China, in which Australian coal appears to have effectively been barred from Chinese ports. By November, more than 60 vessels carrying Australian thermal coal were held up in Chinese waters because they weren't able to offload their cargo, according to Bloomberg shipping analysis data. So do China's recent energy woes have anything to do with its sanctions on Australia, or is it just an awkward coincidence? Residents of Hunan and Zhejiang have been issued notices stipulating the orderly use of electricity, along with other power restrictions that haven't been seen for a long time, according to local media reports. The restrictions have come during a particularly cold Chinese winter, where millions of people have switched on energy-intensive heating to cope with sub-zero temperatures. Temperatures in Zhejiang plummet around this time of year, with daily average lows of 3 degrees Celsius in December and January. The mercury usually doesn't rise above 8 degrees. According to China's state-owned broadcaster CCTV, lights and lifts in some office buildings were shut off in several cities across Hunan and Zhejiang. The power outages forced some office workers in Hunan's city of Changsha to climb 20 to 30 flights of stairs, according to a report in the local news publication Ifeng. Social media users in the city of Yuwu in Zhejiang made similar complaints. The office room is freezing cold after the aircon is turned off. Now the lift is shut off, one resident wrote on Weibo. Climbing stairs almost killed me this morning. Changsha residents have also been advised against using energy-intensive appliances such as electric stoves and ovens, and not to set air conditioners above 20 degrees. The ABC has also seen an online notice to a middle school in Zhejiang, banning staff and students from turning on heating if temperatures exceeded 3 degrees. So is the ban on Australian coal to blame? Shane Oliver, AMP Capital's chief economist, told the ABC it was quite possible that the power cuts had a link to the coal ban, but that it was impossible to know for sure. The disruption to the supply of coal into China as a result of the bans on Australia may also be playing a role in that in causing rationing, he said. It is quite normal to have cold winters at this time of the year in China, so one would assume that's been allowed for. However, he said it was premature to assume China's trade tactics against Australia had backfired. I think all countries which engage in trade wars tend to pay some price for it, Dr. Oliver said. Trade wars are not desirable, they do result in both sides losing. Obviously one side loses because they don't get the supply and quality of supply that they're used to, the other side loses because they lose an export market. Jun Mao, a thermal coal analyst at Jiangsu Jinying Capital Management, told the ABC the power shortages were a sign of supply and demand issues in China. China's thermal coal stocks are insufficient and the price is relatively high. But it hasn't been completely out of control, he said. The Chinese government is already coordinating, and I think the problem will be resolved soon. Mr. Mao said he believed the power shortages had some connection to China's ban on Australian thermal coal, but that it was not the main reason. It is also related to some domestic factors, which have impacted on the shortage of thermal coal, he said. Hu Zijin, editor of the Global Times, wrote on social media that it was nonsense to link China's power shortage to the ban on Australian coal. He said the ban had a subtle impact on China's electricity supply, because the coal imported from Australia is mainly coking coal and China has rich resources of thermal coal. The claim that the Australia policy hurts ourselves is a malicious fabrication by foreign forces and some people in our country,